everyone, this is Earl from Wandering Earl, and a couple of days ago I asked on social media if anybody had any travel related questions from me. Just any random questions whatsoever. And then I decided that I would put the answers into a video and share it that way. And well, this is that video. So let's get started and see what you guys asked. First question is, what is the best carry-on bag, and what do you think of those away luggages that are all over Facebook? Okay, well, for me personally, I use the Timbuk2 Co-Pilot Roller suitcase. This is a carry-on size. It's super sturdy. It's handled all of the rigors of travel that I've thrown at it as I bounce around the world, and I just like the design, and it looks good. Has a lot of compartments, and again, it fits in as a carry-on. I've never had a problem taking it on as a carry-on anywhere in the world. Another good one that I like, which I did use for a couple of years before I moved over to the Timbuk2, is the Eagle Creek Warrior. It comes in many different sizes, but if you get the one that does fit into the carry-on dimensions, that's a very sturdy bag as well. And yeah, I used that for a couple of years and loved it also. As for the away luggages, yeah, that seems to be a thing. Everybody's making new luggage all of a sudden. Everybody's, yeah, thinks their luggage is the best. To be honest, I keep things simple. I like the ones that I use. I don't really go for these new crazy luggages that are the best this, the best that. I just try out a few, and the one that seems to work best for me, that's the one I go with. And that's how I ended up with the Timbuk2. So, there we go. Question number 2. What are you shooting this on right now? That's a good question. And this is being shot on a Google 2 XL, a Google Pixel 2 XL. I love this phone. I got it earlier this year, and I mainly got it because of the quality of the photos, the quality of the videos, and the thing works pretty smooth. I've never had a single problem with it, and yeah, this is definitely the best phone that I've had. Eliminated my need to take a camera with me, and yeah, I love it, so I'm hooked. Number 3, I want to ask how to get a job on board a cruise ship. For those of you who don't know, I did spend almost 5 years working on cruise ships earlier in my travels. I was a tour manager for several different cruise lines. And right now, the best way to get a job first is to figure out exactly which position that you want to apply for. You need to narrow it down. You don't just apply and say, I want to work on a ship, find me a job. It doesn't exactly work that way. There are dozens and dozens of different positions, and first you need to figure out which one is a good match for you. Once you figure that out, then you pretty much need to go to in most cases, you go to the cruise lines directly, or you have to use one of their official agencies, depending on your home country, and you need to apply through them. So it's a little bit tricky, as there's many different avenues, and it depends on the cruise line, it depends on the position. But in general, once you figure out the job, you would go and search and figure out how you would apply for that specific job to each cruise line. And again, it will be different. So that is one unique thing about it. Of course, as for those of you who don't know, I have put together a guide called How to Work on a Cruise Ship that does give you all the information that you would need, step-by-step instructions to apply for pretty much every job on a cruise ship. Yeah, based on feedback, it definitely gives you the best chance possible of getting hired. So if you are serious about working on a cruise ship, might be worth checking it out. I'll put the link down in the description below for you. Next one. Hey Earl, can you suggest a safe place to stay in Varanasi, India? Varanasi, one of my favorite cities in India, the holiest city in India, and I go there quite often. I would recommend staying at the Shivakashi guest house. Yep, that's the Shivakashi guest house. It's right in the middle of the old city. It's just about a 10-20 second walk right down to the river. And the owner is such a sweet guy, Sanjeev. He's such a nice guy, super helpful, will just help you with anything you could possibly need. It's an inexpensive place. Rooms maybe about in the $10 to $15 a night range. They're simple, basic rooms, but they're clean. They have everything you need, great staff, great location, and very safe. So that's always been my pick in Varanasi. In the near future, if you decide to have a family, will you be settling down in some place and create roots there? Or will you teach your kids the nomadic way of living? That's a good question. To be honest, I don't know. And I think if that time came for my girlfriend and I, we would make the decision that seems best at that time. I think it's just like any decision that we make as we continue this lifestyle. You know, we constantly have to decide if this way of living is right, or if we want to do it this way instead, and we constantly have to make changes. So if we decided to have a family, I think we would have to just, you know, sit down and think about it and think what would be best for everybody, and what we really want or we really feel is the right option, and we would go from there. So I think it's hard to say ahead of time. It's one of those things that when it does happen, you would take in all the factors and make the decision. But you know, we would both be open to either one. If we decided that the nomadic way of living is what we would want for our family, then we would make that happen, and yeah, we would go with it. If we decided that settling down somewhere and doing it that way is the best option, then, you know, if that becomes more important, obviously, then that's what we would do. And yeah, always be open to whatever decision would be best for everyone if that situation did arise. Okay, let's see. When visiting a city as a single traveler, is it better to book day trips online or wait until one arrives in the city? Very good question. To me personally, I don't like to book too much before I arrive in a place. The main reason is I like to get a feel, you know, for the place on my own. I like to show up and wander around a little bit, kind of go a little bit deeper and understand what the town or the city is all about, and then decide what I really want to focus on. And then if there is something that seems like a day trip would be great, or an organized trip would be great for that particular activity, then I would go online or go to wherever and actually book it. I've never really had a problem booking things while there. I've never really, you know, things have been sold out or have not been able to do what I wanted to do in those circumstances. So I personally like to wait and get to the destination before doing it. Another good thing in a lot of places now, and it's becoming much more popular, which I think is excellent, are these, you know, walking tours, free walking tours in a lot of places. Some charge a minimal fee, and many town cities, especially in Europe, offer these, but it's starting to pop up even more in other continents as well. And you can just go have a, you know, 1 to 2 hour walking tour just of the destination, get a feel for it, learn some things about it, and again, then you can decide what you actually want to do in terms of day trips or other activities. And yeah, who knows, maybe you'll meet some people on the walking tour and you can then group together and go off and explore. But yeah, for me personally, I like to get to the destination first before booking anything, like activities. All right, next up is, what are your top 10 things to do in Hong Kong for a couple that's visiting in February? I'm going to switch that to the top 3 things to do in Hong Kong, since it's been several years since I've been, and my memory's a little rusty with that. But the things that do pop out is taking a Star Ferry cruise across the harbor. That's a must. That's just a cheap way to get a view of the city, which is pretty remarkable. So definitely take the Star Ferry. The other thing would be to take, again, another cruise in the harbor, but at night, because once the city lights up and they have that light show with all the buildings downtown, it's spectacular to see. I remember working on a cruise ship and we left Hong Kong just as that light show was going on, and it's probably one of the most memorable evenings in my cruise ship career. So definitely take another harbor cruise in the evening. I would also say food. Definitely, it's all about food. Go on a street food tour, go and explore as much of the local food as you possibly can. I'm going to put a link actually in the description to a very cool free guide of the 25 best food items to eat in Hong Kong and exactly where to find them. It's from a great guy who runs a great food website called Migrationology, Mark. So I'm going to put that in the link and just follow that, honestly, and you cannot go wrong. So that would be, and it might be worth it to go up to Tian Tan Buddha. It's just a huge Buddha statue, but it is nice to get out of the craziness of the big city. So that's a nice relaxing place as well to hang out for a bit. So that would be my Hong Kong based on my recollections. Next up, out of curiosity, how long do you generally stay in each location before moving on? I think this is a great question as well, and I think it's important to mix it up. So my girlfriend and I, we like to mix it up. So sometimes we'll say, oh, we have a week or we have 5 days, let's find a place that is perfect just for a short period of time. You know, the last time we did that was, where did we go? Belgium. So we had just a few days in between 2 other places we had to be, so we ended up in Belgium. We flew to Brussels, we did, 2 days in Brussels and 1 day out in Bruges, and that was perfect. It was just a quick little trip just to get a feel for the country, and that worked out very well. But then before that, we wanted to spend a longer period of time somewhere. We were in London for almost a month. And that just gave us a way to get a little bit deeper. We didn't want to go to London and just bounce around in 3 days. And yeah, that didn't seem like a good match for that destination. So I think it depends on the destination. And then it's also important to mix things up. So we do like to have those little short breaks, and then we like to stay in places for a longer period of time. Another good example, in just a couple weeks, we'll be flying to Lisbon. So we'll be staying in Lisbon, Portugal for 1 month. And we felt that it was time to have that 1 month somewhere in Europe and just really soak in it and enjoy. And then after that, we'll bounce around quite a bit for in Spain and even South America, more shorter stays. So again, mixing it up is the way to go. And but I guess at the end of the day, however long it is right for you, that's what you should do. So sometimes if you feel like you just need to bounce around a little bit and get to a few destinations in a short period of time just to spice things up, go for it. If you suddenly feel tired or you just want to go hang out somewhere and get a little bit deeper, then go find a great place and book an apartment for a month and hang out there. So I think as long as you're following what you really want to do, that's the most important thing in the end. All right, let's see. And the last question. I'd love to know how you usually go about planning your days when you're traveling. Do you research things to do beforehand, or do you just arrive and start walking around? For the most part, we just arrive and just start walking around. Like, we don't plan too much. We just show up and we go from there. That's usually, of course, when we're spending longer period of time in a destination like London. We just kind of showed up in London, we got situated, got comfortable, and we started to branch out. We had a month, so by the end of the month we done a lot of things, but we didn't really know about any of those things before we arrived. I've also learned that the most rewarding and the most memorable moments of travel are not the ones where you plan everything ahead of time and you have everything, your set itinerary, and you just follow exactly what you're supposed to follow, all the must-see places and all that. It's always been, the most memorable moments have always been the things that I didn't plan, the things that just happened out of nowhere, that I had no idea existed, or just something that happened last minute and off I went and participated in some activity. So I think that's important to allow yourself to do that, because again, so maybe you don't see the 3 must-see places in whatever city you're in. Who cares? That's okay. It's all about having a rewarding experience. And again, I can say from personal experience of 19 years of traveling, if I had to make a list of the top 100 rewarding experiences, I'm sure 95 of them would be just these random situations that happened, or random things that I ended up doing, or that my girlfriend and I ended up doing without any planning whatsoever. And yeah, it could just be finding a random food stall and having some incredible little snack. Could be finding some quirky building or some cool museum that nobody goes to or knows about, or just random things that you find out about. So I think definitely you need to leave a good chunk of your travels, a good chunk of your itinerary to these random spontaneous moments, because again, that's where the real rewards happen. So at least in my experience. Again, so that wraps it up, and I'll be trying to do this pretty regularly. So if you do have any questions, just leave them in the comments below, and I will be happy to answer them in the next video. Again, I'll put some helpful links in the description as well, just to based on what I've said here in this short video. I appreciate you listening, and I hope you have all a great day. I hope you all have a great day, and happy travels wherever you may be heading.